Hello, welcome. This is going to be my review of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. So, starting off with no spoilers, some things I liked about the film. I liked the way that the animatronics looked. Freddy and Bonnie and Chica and Foxy. I think that throughout the film, they really nailed how these animatronics look, how they're represented, how they walk and move, and really just, I think it was well done. The lighting was another thing that I really liked, and I think that it complemented the animatronics a lot. There are definitely some really interesting and cool shots, especially of Foxy when it comes to the shadows and how they work that in with him. And I really just like the setup and set design of the pizzeria. I think they did a really good job kind of recreating it. I don't entirely remember what it looks like from the games because I played those like nearly a decade ago. But personally, I quite liked it. Now, as far as lore, I'll be honest, I haven't watched a Five Nights at Freddy's video since like 2015 or 13, or maybe even before that. I don't even remember. It was a part of my late childhood. I haven't experienced any of it recently. Uh, but as far as what I remember from the lore, it all in this film seems to be fairly accurate, and I think that they did a fairly good job bringing it to life. Now, something I didn't like here is that I expected this to be scary. I expected it to be a horror film, and this film is not scary. Not really at all. Uh, the only really scary thing is like jump scares, but they're not that good. I don't think there's good suspense or build up with it. There's one scene that has a little bit of okay build up, but really, this film is just not scary, and it sucks because they're supposed to be scary games. And yeah, I knew it wasn't really going to work with the PG-13 rating instead of an R rating. It wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be for PG-13, but still, the scares were not great. Don't expect it to be as scary as the games or any other kind of horror type film. Another thing is the story overall really wasn't that great. I was not a huge fan of the narrative or the subplot line with the main character and his sister. It all just felt really bland to me, and I just wasn't 100% here for it. There are some parts of it that I like, but most of it I don't. Um, I will say though, like, as far as the main character and his younger sibling, narrative. I liked it more than I did Noah in the Transformers film, Rise of the Beast. I at least liked it more than that. I know that isn't really saying a whole lot, but it is what it is. It's not awful. It was cool to see them at the end together eating breakfast. Uh, but yeah, it was just kind of eh. Now, I want to give this film rating here. Objectively, as a film, as a horror film, I gotta give it like a 3. It's not that great of a movie, in my honest opinion. But as a former fan of the franchise, subjectively, I had a lot of fun with it. Um, I'd give it like a 6. I had a smile on my face at a lot of parts, got a couple good chuckles. And it was just really cool to see this part of my late childhood be adapted into a film. That said, it's not the best film. And personally, I would say for the average movie goer, maybe you don't know a lot about Five Nights at Freddy's, you're not sure if you want to see this, don't don't bother. It's not the way to introduce yourself to the franchise at all, and it's not a good horror film. Now, for those of you who like the lore, there's boundless people that know more about the lore and enjoy the lore more than I ever did. You guys are probably gonna have a really great time. I'll be honest. You'll probably really enjoy it. I know that it seems to be doing pretty well, to my knowledge, and that makes sense. Fan scores on Rotten Tomatoes are like 88 or 89%, and that makes sense. I'm sure there's a lot of good lore geeks that really like this film, and even just casual fans like myself. It was fun. It was a little bit above average, in my opinion, subjectively. Um, but yeah, not the best film. Definitely, I would not recommend it to anyone who wants to get into the franchise. Moving into a spoiler section. This is going to take a minute because there's a lot of things I want to talk about. I really liked the opening sequence with the random security guard running away. This is the one part where I feel like the tension worked. It felt pretty scary. Him running, him getting caught, the Saw style face trap they had going on. That was really cool. And then I also really liked in the opening credits of the film, we had the arcade style sequence kind of giving a prelude to stuff like William and the kids. Of course, lore fans would have realized that instantly, and it was really cool to see that representation in the arcade format. Another thing I liked here, the phone call explanation regarding like what the building is, limited electricity, what you got to do, and then like the tape giving instructions. That was all really cool. I liked that a lot as far as scene setting. I think that was in the games, or at least the phone call was. I don't entirely remember. Like I said, this was nearly a decade ago. Um, but that sequence was really cool. I did like that. Now, Mike and Abby. I didn't like this subplot a whole lot, as I'd said. I think Mike is really stupid because they ask for Abby in return to giving him the knowledge of the guy who took his brother. But his brother is presumably already dead. Who knows where that guy is? What does it matter if you catch him? Your brother's not coming back. Your sister is still here. You still should care for your sister. But you say yes to giving her away. He's like, yes. Well, wait, but actually, no. That was really stupid. I didn't like that part at all. That said, the one thing I did like about Mike, at least conceptually, was this dream sequence that we had going on with like him falling asleep to access a memory. That was interesting conceptually. I wasn't a big fan of how that was done in execution, but it is what it is. I like some of what we have here as far as the dream sequence. It is neat, I guess you could say. I don't think it's the best. A small detail I did like was the kids' artwork, whether that was in the pizzeria or Abby's artwork around her room, or just Abby, constantly drawing pictures in general. I thought that was a really neat little detail. And it does tie into the ending with her putting up a new picture. That was a bit cheesy, I'm not gonna lie, but it was cool, I guess, a little bit. Um, the aunt, yeah, this aunt is insane, like massively insane, like fake crying, being psycho manipulative, wanting the child for the paycheck, and talking about like we throw down the option of killing Mike, and she's like, that's not that bad. Yeah, she's crazy. It's a crazy aunt character, and I mean, you're not supposed to like her. I didn't. What I was expecting to like, and I didn't though, was her death. We established this character that you're not supposed to like, you're supposed to hate her, she's not a great person at all. And then she dies. but her death is completely off screen. This is like the one person where I wanted to see her get some form of a brutal death, his comeuppance, but she just dies in the living room off screen. And they're like, "Oh, she's sleeping now." And that wasn't that great. Now, probably the best part of the film was the break-in scene, and this is what I've heard a lot of people say was the best part of the film. Um, Ultimately, I liked it. It was really fun to see these guys break in and then just absolutely get wrecked by the animatronics. This is just that thing where I wish the film was rated R because we could have really explored some creative and horrifying deaths, like a good horror movie. But for what we have here, it's fun. I feel like I say that a lot in this review, and I'm probably going to continue to say it more. Ultimately, this film isn't that great, but what we have here is fun. Vanessa was really lame. She's the police officer. I didn't like her character at all throughout the entire film. She kind of just serves as like a lore dump. Uh, okay, but there is one thing I did kind of like, and that was the reveal that she's William Afton's daughter. I didn't see that coming. That was a plot twist. That was probably the biggest twist for me in the film. I don't know if that's a real thing in the lore. I don't know if William Afton has a daughter. I don't remember, to be fully honest. But that was a cool scene. I did like that. I did like that reveal quite a bit. Let's see. Matt Pat. Matt Pat is in the film. The film theory guy. I haven't watched him in a long time, but it was cool to see him. It definitely got a good chuckle out of me. And then he says, like, "Oh, I have a theory." That was just, it was really fun to hear, even though it was just such a small scene. But I liked it. Up next, the point that pretty much basically was the deciding factor for me going to see this film. I initially was really hesitant to see it, and I probably wasn't going to. But then I heard this guy's in the film, so I thought, all right, I'll go see it. I'll go see it. And that, of course, is William Afton. William Afton, the Purple Man, Springtrap. Yeah, I know he has a lot of other names too later on. He is my favorite character in the lore. I absolutely love this guy. And I thought the twist of him being the career counselor was kind of cool. It was obvious, like really obvious. He was super suspicious in the room when he's talking to Mike, and I thought, like, what are they doing with this guy? I don't understand. And this is where I'll come back to this in just a second. I didn't think this was William Afton in the room. And that's because the most shocking part here was that Springtrap is human. Like, it literally is the man, William Afton, in the Golden Bonnie suit. I was not expecting that at all. I thought he was going to be Springtrap, and that's why I didn't really think the career counselor was William. But it's cool. I actually it kind of this movie kind of serves as an origin story to Springtrap, kind of. Um, as far as at least how he became Springtrap, and I did really like seeing William's character be brought to life. And the climax with the suit and the rib cage closing in on him was really neat. I liked that quite a bit. And then Foxy stabbing him in the shoulder and they drag him off. That was a really cool bit. And then, the final scene of him in the storeroom as the door closes on him. I like that a lot. Those are probably some of my favorite scenes in the movie. But the overall ending to the movie was just really predictable, to be fully honest with you, and quite a bit plain. Um, I had fun with this film and I had fun with the ending. but it's really just not the best film. And it is unfortunate to say that. It's another video game film that I wish would really succeed narratively. They could just go the full 9 yards. But it's not the worst. It's not the worst film I've seen this year, but it's also certainly not the best film that I've seen this year. Um, will there be a sequel? I don't know. Probably. I would assume, I'm spitballing a theory here. The Mike's brother, the younger brother, is probably in an animatronic suit. I know there's a whole variety of other characters that were not introduced in this film. He's probably one of them. My theory's Balloon Boy, because Balloon Boy jump scares Mike a lot, and he seems to have some form of sentience because he jumps in the taxi in the post-credit scene. Maybe I'm totally wrong. I don't know. I don't remember any of the lore around Balloon Boy at all. Um, but would I see a sequel to this film? Yes, and that is 100% just for the reason alone that it's going to have Springtrap. I do think a sequel to this film is probably going to have the more official version of Springtrap from like the third game, I believe. Where he's all decayed and I think he's burnt as well, and it's his soul in the Springtrap suit. I think that's going to be probably the antagonist of the next film, and personally, that would just be really cool to see. Uh, like I said, William Afton was just the deciding factor on if I'm going to watch this movie. I liked seeing him in the Golden Bunny suit. I like the ending with Springtrap. I just like Springtrap. He's not anywhere near like my favorite character in fiction, but yeah, if the more uh, commonly seen version of Springtrap is in a sequel, I'll go watch it. But like I stated, regular moviegoers, it's probably not the film for you. And I'm sorry. I don't think this is any proper way to be introduced to the Five Nights at Freddy's universe, lore, story. But if you're a lore fan, hey, you'll probably love it. Um, I forget the name of the song, but it did hit me with a massive wave of nostalgia, and that's when the credits play, and it's it's one of the really popular Five Nights at Freddy's songs that I used to hear all the time. It was so fun to hear that again and get the credits rolling with some of those pictures I was talking about. That was just a really nice cherry on top way to end the movie. Um, wasn't the best, but that was just a nice little bit at the end. Was getting to hear that song again over the credits. I think that you know, I guess it pays homage or is a nice little Easter egg for a lot of the more hardcore fans or people who used to be massive fans of the franchise. Because I know it's probably people at the maximum, like my age and younger. Uh, like I said, I dipped out of Five Nights at Freddy's a long time ago. And, this film was a fun, nice little way to jump back in for a couple hours and make a fun little video talking about it. I wish the film was better, but it's really not the worst. And I did enjoy it, even though objectively it wasn't that great. At the end of the day, I had a lot of fun. Maybe you will too. Uh, yeah, that's about it. Bye, guys.